everyone, welcome back. So today I actually am refilming a video and making it slightly different because I had previously done a digital planning video and had issues with how the screen was interacting with the camera. So I figured I would save your eyeballs and redo this video. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts for 2023. I was originally pretty happy in a half letter disc bound, but because I don't leave the house, I work from home, thinking I'm going to actually give myself some more space and do something slightly different, a combination of what I was using before and a new idea, a new thought. So this is just caveat, personal and like my content planning. My work planner, that may or may not change, but I'll talk about that in a different video. So let me start with what initially had captured my eyes that I had started to film last time, which is the digital version. So what actually caught my eye was the Moxie Life digital planner. So there are a couple of things that I am experimenting with right now. I do have the physical version of the vertical flagship. So that is this that probably looks familiar, where it's not timed, it's just basically a vertical planner. No times, just a bunch of lines. So let me show you what it usually looks like is this. So there are boxes down at the bottom. I think they're intended to be used for gratitude. This is fairly light because it's in green, but there's habits over here on the right side. We'll get this figured out, bear with me. And then there's a sidebar over on that side. So how I have been using it is a little bit how I was using my Hobonichi cousin. I drew an extra bar across the bottom, and I'm using this bottom section for tasks of various kinds. And then I went ahead and did my own timeline just so I can kind of keep things going about the same time across. And I'm using it with essentially like the little highlighter dots in order to have something to check off. This is a combination of routines, meetings, and then things that I'm doing to kind of push my goals forward. So that's one way that I'm using digital. I initially stopped using this quite so much because of the daily, which this is actually a vertical. So let me zoom out a little bit, we'll flip it around. All right, so this is a vertical instead of a horizontal layout. So you can kind of see that. Well, let me show you what a blank one looks like. And let's go to December because I've kind of planned out the next few weeks a little bit. There we go. So this is what a blank daily looks like. There's a bunch of check boxes on this side. There's 3 bulleted items here. And then there are timed areas. Hopefully that's legible. We do have a calendar down here at the bottom that you can tap on to go to the next month. And then there's a dot grid down here at the bottom. There are links at the top to your weekly actions, weekly overview, and weekly reflections. And then the calendar, your monthly goals, monthly reflection, and then the notes pages. So I did take the 2023 version and took a weekend and actually just copied and pasted a bunch of the dates and just kind of put the numbers over the top. So, and I did the same with the calendar so that I could use it for the last 2 months, just so I can experiment and see what I wanted to do with it. There is also a weekly overview page, and I don't know, do I have one that I haven't put stuff on? Yes. So this is what they normally look like. And then these actually will link to the individual pages. So this is a good way to kind of navigate between dates along with the little calendar at the bottom. And then the weekly reflections page I flipped by a couple of times. It's just a plain dot grid where you can put information in. And then the weekly actions looks a lot like what it looks like in the physical planners as well. So I am enjoying using this. Let's see, today, actually this is yesterday. So a quick note, I usually am just keeping my routines in here. And I know to some people this may seem really busy, but in all honesty, these are things I actually do. And so these are things that take up my time, which is why I don't mind them taking up a bulk section of my to-do list, because this is a realistic look at how much time I have left to do things. So I do go ahead and put in like every other hour in the time section, and then I use a red line for my work hours, And then if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I'm experimenting with intermittent fasting, and so that's what the blue line is kind of my fast time. So this gives me a couple of different ways to see information on my day without actually having it written in, and then I just have notes of, it looks a lot like what's in the vertical planner, if you remember what that looked like. And so a lot of this I actually have saved, so I'm not retyping this every single time. They have these elements is what they call them. So I actually have saved a lot of this as elements, so all I have to do is just tap it and then I get another one. So I'm not retyping all of this. That is the thing I like about digital, is that it's easy to kind of reassemble a week or a day, because I can just, this is an element, my lines are an element, each one of these items here is an element, my routines are an element, and then if I go back, when I have some of these like level 2 tasks from the organized mum method, those are an element. So I literally am just like paste, 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 and then it's done. So the part of me that's a little bit lazy and wants to just get the planning done and over with enjoys this. There's also some creativity to it, so that part is satisfied as well. So I am actually enjoying digital planning, which I never thought that I necessarily would. This is today. As you can see, I have a lot of different things in here, aside from my normal routines. And when I cross these off, I'm actually just using the highlighter, which if you highlight and hold, it'll actually make it a straight line for you, as long as it's not too wonky like that one. So anyway, I am really enjoying this. This is something that I will definitely do periodically, because I take this with me when I travel. And so this way I don't have to take my large flagship, especially if I'm crossing over weeks where I want to actually get some of my planning and goal setting and checking in on goals and stuff done while I'm traveling. I also have a couple of notebooks. Actually, this one is set for one of my trips, so let me put it on a different trip. So this one I have sectioned off. Actually, we'll go to the table of contents. So I have travel planning, I have kind of 2023 planning and thoughts. I'm playing with project Kanban boards. I actually have a physical one of these in my office now. I'm reusing an Erin Condren board that I've had that's just blank. I just put some washi tape on it, across it in a grid. And then I have some content planning notes just from videos I was taking. So if I go to planning, brain, here we go. So this is when I'm doing my travel planning, this is kind of what it looks like right now. I have a packing list on the left of just things I want to make sure I take with me. Up at the top I have why I'm traveling, the dates, where I'm going, and then I have travel info. So if I'm driving, if I'm flying, it has flight information and where I'm staying. If I'm staying at a hotel, it has hotel information. So it's kind of a snapshot on one page of where I'm going. This syncs with my phone, so I don't have to pull my iPad out, I can just pull my phone out. I also have the daily intentions notepads digitally, and the nice thing is these are perpetual. So I have the morning daily intentions and the evening daily reflections. So I am using those as well. So that is what I'm doing digital wise. So let's talk paper planners, because I can't go all digital. It's not a thing for me. So this is what I'm playing with right now. So this is a Plum paper planner that I have on discs, combined with some other stuff. So I am playing with things that I have already left over, and I have a new set of inserts coming. So let's talk about what I'm wanting to do. So these are part of the normal setups. I did sit down and kind of make a new list of my responsibilities for this next year, because I have some things ending, some things starting. So I wanted to kind of get an idea of what I have going on. So this is not normally part of the Plum paper planner. Normally you have like a monthly overview, and then it goes straight into a notes page, and I'll explain that in a second. These are from the Steadfast over Scattered planner. I do have various pages from this printed. This is a printable planner, so you can change the size. You can print just the pages you want. I really liked her Home and Heart Plans page, so I did print that out. and on the back side, the reflect and refresh page. So this is kind of a quick goal setting, what's been going well, what hasn't. So for November, I ran through and looked for a month that actually had the same dates as November, so I wouldn't have to redate it. Guess what? February 2021. So I basically just whited out, well, over here, I just put a sticker that I had left over. Like, this is literal leftovers. And here, I just whited out the November at the top. I found a sticker from an old Happy Planner sticker book. Literally just making do with what I have. Actually, I guess it was February 2022, just so that I could try out what I'm wanting to do and then see if this is going to work. The Moxie Life markers, the new ones, Word to the Wise, all the colors were perfectly fine, no bleed through, as you can see, except for the very dark Moxie Gray marker. These are kind of mild liner type highlighters. I don't know if I just have one that's like extra juicy, but when I highlight, it's fine until I get to the end where it kind of leaves a blob. So I've played with it on other pieces of paper, and I've discovered if I kind of go across and then lift up really quickly at the end, it doesn't leave quite as much of a blob. So, but yeah, that did bleed through. So I probably won't use that again. Aside from the fact that it was really dark and hard to read underneath, since I have the black ink underneath. So anyway, so what I have that is supposed to arrive, I think actually tomorrow, is the Plum Paper Me layout. This is the teacher's layout. It has Monday through Friday as a full box, and then Saturday, Sunday in small boxes. The one that I got is one of the grid layouts. So it has the dates across the top and then 6 boxes down the side. That is actually what I prefer. What I'm going to be doing is using the paper planner as more of a to-do tracking, moving things forward, because it essentially will be the same idea, except the categories will be down the side. So I have work, I have Instagram and YouTube, health, Daughters of the King, personal, and home. So as I have things that I need to get done, I can assign them to specific days. The Me layout actually has a sidebar here, so these things that I have just kind of randomly written down here at the bottom, I can actually put on the sidebar as things that need to be done that week, but not on a specific day. So I'm just feeling like I have a lot of moving parts going on right now that I want to move forward, and I'll do another planner update probably in a couple of weeks. So by then, hopefully I will have the inserts so that I can show them to you. But I did leave the categories blank so that I can change them as my goals change. So that is what I'm playing with now. As you can see this week, I dealt with the reversed dates down the side, categories across the top, but I don't like having Saturday and Sunday squished down here at the bottom because I do tend to have stuff that I'm doing on the weekends. The next thing I have in here is the to-do list. I have not quite figured out what I want to do with that, but I have a bunch of those. And then I do have the monthly blog planning section in here. And I just realized okay, this is actually from the social media. I've pulled everything apart and moved things kind of how I want them. And I had filled some things out before, and so I'm just matching everything to try and have it kind of match up together. So, monthly planning for social media, I have kind of at the back of the month. Same thing with blog planning. So this is from their blog inserts. They have these pages, which you can get at the end of each month interspersed, or they have a whole section. Between the blog and the social media, neither of them is entirely what I need. Together, they are kind of what I need. So part of the reason I order things on disc from Plum Paper is I pull pages out and I rearrange them. So that's one of the benefits of not being on a coil. So with that, I have kind of my blog post schedule. I have a spot to do blog statistics. Unfortunately, the way that the punches work with this size versus the A5 or half letter, there is some hangover at the top. So I'm just kind of dealing with things because I'm literally just throwing stuff in one place right now, and I will rewrite it later. So these were some of my notes for Christmas 2022. This is another section that I printed out of the Steadfast over Scattered. So she has seasonal refreshes. So we have the winter reflect and refresh, winter goals, and she has winter as December, January, February, winter plans, winter meals, and then a notes page. So I went ahead and printed that out, stuck it right in before December. I have another home and heart plans page and December goals and refresh, a blog planning page, and then this was what I had in here before that I was using for social media and blog planning. I got these in 2021 and changed up what I wanted to do. Obviously I kind of abandoned, not really abandoned. I paused on YouTube because I was burnt out last year. So I ended up not using these. I'm not really doing much on Facebook. Instagram is probably more what I'm doing, and so that's the other reason I kind of switched the planner layout that I was using. And I've actually have a couple of other options coming in. One from Happy Planner, which is the dashboard layout. So it's just a smaller section and then a weekly page. So that I think is what I'm going to use more for content planning, just so I can kind of move things around a little bit easier. All right. So I have my home section, which is partially filled out, but not really. These are things I've ordered over the years. Thankfully, I've had kind of the same size, so I can just move it to the new planner. Again, the good thing about being on discs. I, at one point, had put a bunch of monthly cleaning checklists interspersed with all the months, so I have a bunch of blank ones of these. I have checklists, which I will actually probably use for blog planning as far as checking off things for videos and stuff. So that's why I have that section. Here's more of these to-do sheets, so I can grab one of these if I need them. This is my social media section that is, oh my goodness, Frankenplan from a bunch of stuff. Okay, so I have sticky notes I brought forward from another planner with some notes that I had. This is from the Steadfast, or Anchored Women, I guess is what it is. So this is from the Anchored Women business planner. So I printed off a section of these. So business essentials, this is something I have written in an A5 size. I'm going to rewrite. A product ladder page. The big picture, so kind of your goal for the year, goal breakdowns, important dates 2022 and 2023. Monthly statistics, recurring tasks, a couple of product pathway pages, and then just a blank page. This is not the entire planner. I grabbed the things that were not duplicate for something else and printed them off. So there is actually quite a bit more that comes with it. There's budget pages, there's monthly calendars, but that wasn't really what I wanted to use at this point in time. Next, I have a couple of very tiny, because of what they're printed from, monthly calendars. That's kind of my preliminary content calendar for the next couple of months. So I purchased a content planning spreadsheet off of Etsy, and I will actually link the YouTube video down below so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. There are a bunch of pages and you fill something out that generates a calendar. And so I actually printed the calendar off at 50%, and it fit just perfectly in here once I trimmed it down. So I have November and I have December in here, just so I have kind of a basic idea of what I want to do. So this is where I Frankenplan a few things from Plum paper. We have a social media posting guide that was part of their social media insert section. Then I have the blue, which is from their blog section, which looks like a monthly overview and then a blog post schedule. And there's 12 of those, one for each month. I did discover that if you get the interspersed pages, they're printed flip-flop. So this is basically like this. So just a word to the wise if you're ordering these. That's kind of how those interspersed pages come. I did pull a bunch of other things out of here that I didn't need, and then in the back I just have a bunch of notes. Obviously notes I've pulled from other places. So, and then I have an official notes section back here with just lined paper. And then there's a few extra random other pages in the back. And I actually did some pen testing on this passwords page because I never keep my passwords in my planner. Pretty much everything, this is a very smooth paper. I have, when I printed on this I believe it's, trying to remember, it's either 28 or 32 pound paper. It's very similar to what they're printing on. This might be 32 and this might be 28. Because this feels like a hair thicker. Unfortunately, I took this paper out of the wrapper, so I don't know what it is. I just know I have like a stack of it sitting in my paper stack. So pretty much everything did really well. Nothing bled through to the other side as far as like fountain pens. I did give the fountain pen ink like a few seconds to dry before I, tried to smear it, but it went just fine. Sharpie S-gels are fine. I usually tend to go for some of these thinner inks just because I have small handwriting, but it's good to know if I wanted to write in like a 0.7 or the vanishing point fine tip that I would be fine. And then there's a pocket back here that I have a bunch of things that I've brought forward from other planners. And then you have the option to get a envelope that, and this is actually what I have stuck my pen holder on, just so that I can move it kind of between planners. The covers do come with a clear front and back plastic. I had flipped that around so you wouldn't have a lot of glare. So that's why you didn't see it on the front of the cover. So that is what I'm playing with right now. It is really, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit of a hot mess, but I'm experimenting right now with what I need. And I almost feel like if it does what I need it to, whether it's a hot mess or not, it doesn't matter. But I am trying to get myself organized because I'm moving a bunch of things forward and I'm trying to be a little more intentional about this channel and what I'm doing with social media going forward so that I'm sharing things that you're interested in as far as topics go. That being said, if there's anything that I've covered before that you want me to go more in depth on, or if there's something that you wish I would talk about, always feel free to leave those in the comments, because that is something that I look at when I get ready to film videos and when I make my content calendars, is what you guys want to hear about. I am still looking at Hobonichi Weeks for 2023 for my work planner. I say that, and the other thing I'm considering is doing the A6. So that I have not entirely decided on yet. So I'm not entirely sure which one I'll end up in, because I have found this year, toward the end of the year, I'm not really using the weekly pages of this Hobonichi Weeks. So I might actually go back into the A6 and work in this for work. I don't know. I'll kind of see what I feel like when I get there, and that's actually why I ordered a variety of sizes when I placed my order from Hobonichi. I did also get a weekly supplement so that if I, decided to go A6, but I felt like I wanted to have an overview of what was going on at work, then I had that option. So I did get actually this cover to put everything in. Right now I have a A6 Stylogy in there, and then a 2022 weekly supplement. So I have a few options, and we'll kind of see where I end up. I don't know. I always laugh this time of year because I go through like this planner existential crisis, as I'm sure everybody does. But the nice thing about discs is I can pull things in. It's kind of all in one place, so I can carry around with me. I'm not hauling a bunch of different planners with a bunch of different inserts. I can just kind of try what I want, what I think I want to use, and see how it goes. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you have anything specific that you'd like to see, or questions that you have, whether it's about today's topic or something I've covered in the past, feel free to always leave those in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. If you enjoy this sort of planner related content, I encourage you to consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!